jasonnewland.com. My name is Jason Newland. This is Let Me Bore You to Sleep. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. Yep. It's about 5 in the morning. Quite an early start, to be honest. Woke up, got a little bit of a headache, but it's okay. It's probably just the way I was sleeping. Why did I get a vision of me? Don't worry, I was just thinking. Yeah, banging my head on the wall probably when I was asleep, but that'd be weird. I wonder if Vinny, I reckon Vinny punches me when I'm asleep. I'm very tired. Today I've got the mental health nurse calling about 1 o'clock. And apparently she's going to phone twice, and if I don't answer within the second call, I will be discharged. That's nice. Hopefully I won't have someone else phoning me up at the same time. Yesterday, quite an eventful day actually. A fair amount happened. If I stop yawning, I'll tell you all about it. So, I needed to go to the post office to put money into my bank account to cover my bills that are due to come out on the 1st of the month, which is tomorrow. So I was trying to think if there's anyone locally who could put the money into my account and I give them the cash, so I didn't have to go up to the shops, which is where the post office is. I have this block of leaving this estate. Like real struggle with it. So anyway, I knew I needed to do this, and it's been bugging me all weekend, because I should have really done it on Wednesday. Like every week I was sort of getting to the end of the weekend and I'm thinking, oh, we're getting near the weekend. It's like Wednesday, I should get this done. Couldn't face it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning. Well, it was Saturday all day, I think. I don't know. Sunday was off anyway, because it's not open on a Sunday. And then yesterday, final day. So I ended up ordering a taxi to take me up there and wait for me. While I just put the money into the post office and came home. Now, I phoned the taxi up. They said, "Hello, taxi service." I said, "Yeah, I'd like to order a taxi, please." And there was a pause. And I think during that pause we were both thinking the same thing. Of course you want to order a taxi. It's a taxi service. You're not going to phone up because you need your toenails clipped, or because you've got hemorrhoids. It's a taxi service. We provide taxis, that's what we do. So I kind of realised at that point, but I still kept quiet until she said, "Yeah, where from?" She said, "We'll see, depends where you're going." I often wonder why they say that. What do you mean it depends where I'm going? I want a taxi. It goes where I want it to go, surely. Isn't that the whole process? If I want to... Okay, I suppose there's limits, isn't there? I want to go to Iraq. Maybe the taxi driver doesn't want to go to Iraq. Maybe the taxi driver, doesn't want to be away for too long. But on the same side, maybe the taxi driver wants to visit his family. So it could be either way. So you get lots of different people from all around the world in that profession. Anyway, I said, "Yeah, I'd like a taxi." She said, "Where from?" I said, "From here." Now, I said, "From my home." It might seem like a silly thing to say, but they should know me by now. They've got my details on this screen when I call up. I've been a regular with them all summer, like every day, day in, day out, for quite a few weeks, like 6 weeks or whatever, very regular. So I'd have thought that, I'm not expecting a birthday party or a Christmas card, okay, from them all, but just, I don't expect them all to get together and record a song just for me and sing it to me, serenade me. From my garden while I'm in bed. I wouldn't mind that. I'd be okay with that. But I don't expect it. So I said, "Yeah, I want to start off from here." She said, "Most people do." I said, "What do you mean? Why would people want to travel from here?" that's weird. She said, no, most people want to travel. They want to start from where they are. I said, oh, okay, fair enough. She said, so where are you going to? I said, the post office. Well, we need more information than that. She whispered to me, sensually, in my left ear. I mean, she would have whispered in my right ear if I'd had my phone at my right ear. Oh dear, I did crack myself up. And she said, where are you coming from? And I told her I said, well, originally born in London, Enfield actually. I don't know if you've heard of it. But I moved around, Newcastle, Southend, apparently had a bit of a stint in Scotland as well at some point. And then moved up to kind of southeast. A little stop in Ireland, and what's it called? She said, what do you mean, what's it called? I said, I can never remember the place. It's where Butlins lives. She said, what, Skegness? I said, no. She said, there's one in Newcastle, is that where you lived? I said, no, not. I don't think, God, is that really? She said, what, Bognor Regis? I said, yep, that's the one. Bognor Regis. She started laughing. I said, well, that was a bit inappropriate. I said, you don't need to laugh at me, mate. I'm just trying to order a taxi. She said, you're not doing a very good job of it. I said, well, is the taxi on its way? Nope. Why not? Because I don't know where you're travelling from. I said, I'm travelling from home. Where's home? Where's home? I said, have you not got my details on your screen? And she said, what's your postcode? So I thought, well, I think she's finished playing now. I said, my postcode, and I gave my postcode. What number's that? I gave her the number. She said, how many nipples have you got? I said, I've got 2 nipples. What's the relevance there? She said, no relevance, I'm just doing a survey. What? I would have hung up. Honestly, I would have put my phone down. Unfortunately, I've been playing around with some super glue, so I couldn't. I'm sure she called me love quite a few times. Do you ever talk to someone and think, I think they're feeling sorry for me? I've had a few dates like that. Mind you, it's not always bad. I do say charity starts at home. Never understood that. Charity starts at home. Well, I remember, the family discussion about that. We was in the garden. It was my stepmum's, blimey, amazing woman, lovely woman. Anyway, it's her birthday. I didn't need to say lovely woman. Mind you, it would have ruined the story if I said, oh God, what an old bag she is. Oh, she's awful. Proper witch. I mean, that would have been inappropriate, but it would also have been untrue because she is lovely. I'll tell you what I liked about her is I met her in 1988, so I was 17. She was very friendly to me, and she made cakes. I like cakes. Yeah, that's it. Doesn't take much from me. Make me a cake. I actually asked a neighbour to make me a muffin yesterday. I'm not sure if I always know the boundaries. I'm sure she won't anyway. So that can be a weird argument though. Because people don't know how to deal with it. If you go up to someone that you don't know very well and just say, can you make me a cake please? If you do it to a complete stranger, they'll probably just walk off. But if you kind of know them a little bit, like another dog walker, a neighbour that maybe you don't normally talk to, or perhaps you just say hello. And you just say to them, can you bake me a cake? Or what you could do, this is more fun, don't do this anyway, but you know, you could knock on one of your neighbour's doors, 3 o'clock in the morning, and just say, so, I'm so sorry to disturb you, it's a bit of an emergency, really sorry. And they'll be like, well, usually, okay, it's fine, what is it? So could you bake me a cake please? Or you could do it a bit, you could be more realistic, because that's a little bit surreal, isn't it? You could say, have you got any tea bags? It's 3 in the morning. There's no bad time to drink tea. I'm English. It's my heritage to drink tea. But gee, tea's from India. Oh, the tea isn't from China, it's India, isn't it? Tea's from, I think. Well, I find, I mean, I don't buy it from India. I buy it from the supermarket, but apparently, I don't know. So I ordered the taxi. As Vinny's not happy that I'm leaving him. I can't take him with me. So I'm all ready for the taxi. I'm waiting outside. My phone rings. And I'm like, oh really? I don't need a phone call today. I don't want a phone call. I can't be bothered to talk to anyone. But I answered it. And it was my friend who I recently helped out. And he's homeless. Been homeless for a long time. Sofa surfing, that he'd been on the streets and some bad stuff had happened, you know. So I helped him out, and he called me yesterday to tell me that the good news that he'd found somewhere to live, and the money I gave him he used as a bond to get onto this council scheme, which means he's got a studio apartment, temporary, but he's now on the housing list to get housed in the council flat. And he couldn't thank me enough, because I kind of made that possible, because he couldn't do it on his own. And it's really nice news. It's the best news I'd had for a long time. It felt nice because I thought, I said it to him as well. I didn't know what he was going to do with the money, if he was just going to spend it on other stuff, wasted it or whatever. But he used it to help himself. Which is pretty amazing. And talking about good news, I got a text message from my stepmom. My dad had he got the results of his tests, and his treatment was successful. So all it is now is just monitoring. So, wow. I'll give him a call today. But yeah, that's... I didn't phone him yesterday because I don't want him to know I care. There's two things in one day, two really bits of good news. So it's kind of a day mixed between incredible non-relaxation as far as having to go in to the post office and do that, but we got there quite quickly in the taxi. He had nowhere to park, so he just dropped me off. I went into the to do my stuff, and that was it. Went to the counter. It's not like a proper post office, it's a sort of mini post office in a shop. And there was a man behind the counter, but he wasn't standing where the post office bit is. They used to have a separate post office window at the back of the shop, which they don't seem to use anymore. So I stood at the window for the post office, and the man who was behind the counter, he said, "Do you want to use the post office?" I said, "Well, yeah, this is the post office window." He said, "I'm just asking." And I'm just telling, I'm answering. He said, asking me the bleeding obvious. He said, do you know how many people stand at that window thinking it's just a standard window, just a window to pay for stuff? They don't even know we have a post office in here. I said, I don't know how many people. He said, I don't know how many people. I said, why bring up numbers if you don't have the stats? See, I know stats. I like stats. But you don't, is why bring it up if you can't, actually give any kind of proof to your argument. And he said, well, there was no argument until you started going on. I said, I'm not going on. I just find it weird that you're asking questions like that. You go into kebab shops and say, do you sell kebabs? Do you? Hey, do you walk up to the postal workers and say, do you deliver mail? Do you walk up to people that work on TV channels giving the weather and say, do you know if it's going to rain? It's not quite the same thing though, is it? I said no. And he said, should we just move on from this? Because I think it's kind of, the energy's gone, isn't it, from the whole idea really. I said, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I was hoping that I'd get a bit more out of it. He said, yeah, but you know what they say, you can't get juice out of a prune. You can't get juice out of a prune. Well, the pip of a prune. Plums, don't plums have prips, pips, pricks, pips, P-I-P, pips, plums? I think they do, don't they? Oh, don't like plums. But it is way. If I'd been Adam and Eve was my girlfriend and I was the first human being on the planet, firstly, I wouldn't have allowed my ribs to be taken. Like, no, I need them. Secondly, if it was a prune tree, prune, not prune, prune. Why does prune sound wrong? Pear, prune. What's those sour fruits? Plum, not prune, plum. Plum. Don't like plum. So if it was a plum tree, Adam and Eve, plum tree rather than an apple tree, we wouldn't exist. They would still be running around naked and happy. Maybe we all would. Because Eve might have sort of thought, oh, hey Addy, why don't you try one of these lovely juicy plums? sure there's some people are thinking, but I like plums. They're my favouriteest. I understand, it's just personal preference, but I'm not saying I think they're evil. I just don't like them. Although I do like them sometimes. Plum crumble, I can do. Plum cake, I can do. Plums on their own, no. I think if you can, it's like sweet and sour, it works with something incredibly sweet, like ice cream and some plum, it works. But it has to have, you've got to have that sweet to go with the sour. Plum crumble, it works because it's sweet, it has to be sweet. I'm just thinking, I think plum's probably my favourite as a fruit. I love plum. Yeah. So I'm in the post office anyway. And I hand over, the bloke behind the counter, he rings the bell like ding ding. Like those old fashioned hotel receptions where you press they said, press the bell if you need assistance. And if you do press the bell, they'd run out looking all angry. Why did you press the bell for? Why are you so impatient? And you'll be thinking, yeah, okay, why have you got no trousers on? Because they was in the back having a sleep, or worse. So he did the bell. Now the man that came in was outside. I think he might have been on his break. So he came in and he said to you, I'd like put some money in my bank. I said, can I do that here? He said, yeah. So I handed him my bank card and he said, I don't want that. I said, well, I haven't got my library card. What do you need? He said, no. He said, you need to put the card in the machine, but I need the cash. I said, why is it? I feel like I'm being robbed. Anyway, I gave him the money. Obviously, after we rolled around on the floor laughing for a little bit, then we got up. When people put that, was it rolling on the floor laughing, ROLF, PHOL, ROLF. Okay. How many people literally roll around on the floor laughing? I think we over-exaggerate a little bit. Humans, that is. You humans over-exaggerate on texting and Facebooks and Twitter or whatever. Rolling on the floor. I'm rolling on the floor and snot bubbles are coming out. I don't know. Just like I just put ha 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 ha. Literally the words ha ha. With the hope that it doesn't come across as sarcasm. So he took the money, I put my card in the machine, and that all went through fine, funny enough. How likely is the machine going to say, no, we won't accept your money? said to him, "Will it be in straight away?" And he said, "I don't know." I said, "Do you know anything?" He says, "I know lots of things." And it's at that point I think we both came to the realization that we didn't really want to talk to each other. So I said goodbye. We swapped WhatsApps with each other, of course. There was no time to hold hands. And I left. There was stuff I needed to get, but I just wanted to get out there and get home. And where's the taxi parked? Was my first question. And there was a taxi across the road. I was like, why is it across the road? Why? Just, anyway. So I'm crossing the road, walking towards the taxi, and I see a woman getting into the passenger seat. So I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I'm walking up to the driver, and he said, "What do you want, mate?" I said, "You're a taxi?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You're not my taxi, are you?" He said, "No." And I said, "Sorry." He laughed, but I mean, I'm glad that we sorted that out before I tried to pull the lady out of the taxi, because I didn't want her ever in my taxi. For a split second, I actually thought the taxi had gone home, but then I remembered that unlikely he's going to do that without getting paid. Yeah, that's highly unlikely. Anyway, I'm looking for him. He's parked in an alleyway further up across the road. Well, it's like an entrance to a solicitor's or something. But he was facing me, so I couldn't see it was a taxi, because I couldn't see the side of the car. And clearly I didn't know what he looked like, because I just tried to get in someone else's taxi. There was nothing, didn't look anything like him. Which makes me wonder whether or not I should really look at people. Because the person in the taxi that I tried to get into had long hair and a massive beard. My taxi was bald, completely bald. And was wearing glasses. Had this pipe that blew bubbles, but that's not relevant. So I get in there and I say, "Oh, I just nearly got in the wrong car." He said, "What?" "I nearly got in the wrong taxi." And I could just see in his eyes that he really didn't want to have this conversation. It's like there was this deep, deep understanding that he was letting me know in a kind and gentle way, "Please stop talking. I just want to get you back to where you came from, drop you off, get paid, and move on with my life, and try and just forget this ever happened." which I kind of understood. I've met a lot of people with that attitude about me. I'm not saying that I'm like diarrhea, but you know, there is that analogy in the sense of you don't want to keep thinking about it. It's done, you know. That's not a good analogy, is it? Diarrhea. Hiccups. I don't know. I wonder. Oh yes, I went there. I got back. Then I ordered some food, groceries. But what I didn't do, I did some stuff on my website. But what I didn't do is I didn't do a Monday's boring objects. Whoops. I didn't do it. I don't know why. But I didn't do it. No. I just found yesterday to be very busy. Very busy. Then I had a neighbour phone me up whilst I was watching Big Brother. Oh, we've ordered a takeaway, but the takeaway's coming, and we found one and we can pay cash too. But unfortunately we've gone to the back cash machine and there's no money, they're not giving money out. If I give you the money, if I put the money in your bank account, can you give me the cash? So I go out. I figure, well, I've got to take Vinny out anyway. And if I'm going to be disturbed, I might as well just take him out, meet them in the park, give them the money, and then let Vinny have a wee-wee and come back, which is what I did. But it messed up Big Brother because I couldn't carry on watching from where I was. I thought I'd paused it, but then I was watching it on the app and I went back and it wouldn't let me fast forward from the start. So I waited until I watched ITV instead of ITV2. I watched ITV2 plus 1 and I rewatched the thing. And I didn't get a chance to watch Leighton live, which is okay. I might watch it today. And then, what else? I can't be disturbed like that when I'm watching Big Brother. It's important not to get disturbed. Maybe it's shallow. In an emergency, of course. But that's not an emergency. Well, not to me, it's not. But Big Brother is an emergency. Big Brother takes priority over everything. Because I'm a child. So from now on, I will be having my phone on mute during Big Brother, and I will not answer it at all, unless it's, family or something. And there's no way I know that outside my dad would never phone me at 9 in the evening. Or 9:30 wouldn't happen. How did they find a takeaway that accepts cash? I've not found any. The last time I was able to pay cash was well over 10 years ago for a delivery. Since I moved here, it's been you pay on the phone or you pay on the app. Like Uber Eats or I don't know, some of the other ones. Just Eat. They're all the same pretty much. It's the same workers work for all of them, I think. Right, my tummy's telling me it's time for ready break and a cup of tea. Yeah. So I'm gonna go. Thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. Lots of love.